Matters football, and of course the tournament is just 2 days away. Remember, this is the 22nd edition of the tournament, and of course all the 32 countries are looking forward to win that particular tournament. But of course England, one of the favorites in this particular tournament, will be looking at that particular group because they will be playing against Wales, of course the United States of America, and Iran. Iran, of course, are the underdogs, and we will be trying to give you the updates in terms of what is happening with the squads. All the teams already in Qatar preparing for the matches which will begin on Sunday. Of course, Ecuador will be playing Qatar, which is the host nation. And just maybe a heartbreak for the English fans, because Kyle Walker is set to miss the opener against Iran. So we will see what happens in that particular game. But of course, I'll be joined by Keitany here in studio just to help you understand better what will be happening there in Qatar. Have a look at the United States national team, and of course the Welsh team led by Gareth Bale, and of course the likes of Daniel James, Harry Wilson. The USA, their main man is Christian Pulisic. So we will be trying to help you and give you a view of what are their chances of progressing to the next round, which is the round of 16, before going into the quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the finals. And we will know the eventual winner when the time arrives. That is on the 18th of December this year. So be sure to stay with us. We'll be giving you as well the manager profiles of the different teams, and of course just some of the key players in all those teams. So do stay with us until the very end. And now it's time to bring Keitany on board. Keitany, thank you very much for joining us. This is your debut here on the World Cup show, only on Lookuptv. How are you feeling?
Excited, man. For World Cup and for football, always happy to be there.
I presume you support Argentina?
Messi to the
Messi fan.
To the world.
James, you had it. 2 Messi fans on studio today. Too bad for Ronaldo fans. And of course, James is one English supporter. He'll be supporting England today. Of course, he has a jersey for the English national team. Just before we dwell into the English national team, I'd like to give the viewer the Group B in particular, the teams that will be playing in Group B. Like I've said, England will be playing in Group B. They've won that tournament once in 1966. The United States of America, they are very young, talented players in that particular roster. We will see what will be happening with them in Qatar, because there are a lot of players, young players, the likes of Tyler Adams, Brendan Aronson, who both play for Leeds in the English Premier League, Christian Pulisic, like I've said, and of course Wales, and of course Iran, which are who are the underdogs rather. So Keitany, just to begin with, before we talk about England, because England are the big boys in this particular group,
yeah.
Wales. Wales will be depending on their starman, Gareth Bale. Do you think Gareth Bale still has it, what it takes to inspire the Welsh national team?
You know, this is the last match. I presume this is the last World Cup he'll be playing, and he will want to give it all for the national team. And for any player who is playing like their final game, they want to give it their all. You know, like they want to leave that the legendary mark. He'll be supported, of course, by Kina Daniel James, but you see, he's the main man. And I was watching the highlights before the qualifications for them to get to Qatar, and actually he scored. I think he was among the top scorers. And for me, Gareth Bale right now playing for MLS, he scored the 118th minute to win for MLS. So for me, I think Gareth Bale has it. He still has it.
But of course, he moved from Real Madrid, came back to Tottenham. But then when he came back to Tottenham, that is the only season that he did not win a silverware.
Yeah.
Then he went back to Madrid, but things are not working out for him in Madrid. He went to the MLS, like you said, he scored a goal in the 118th minute to win the MLS Cup. Now, in as much as he has the experience, he also needs support, of course.
Yeah.
And players like Dan James, who played for Manchester United, and of course went to Leeds, now in Fulham. Scored against United, by the way, in the weekend. Of course, you're a United fan.
Yeah.
Do you think the likes of Daniel James, and of course there are other players, Harry Wilson, who plays for Fulham as well, do you think they're young players, of course, this is their first World Cup, but will they step up? Because as well, apart from Gareth Bale, the other players like the goalkeeper, Wayne Hennessy, is a very, very experienced goalkeeper. Yeah. Do you think they can, of course, help Gareth Bale or take the burden off Gareth Bale?
Keitany, you know, as much as you have the likes of Gareth Bale, he won't do it alone. A lot has been said about like Messi can't do it alone without Iniesta. But I think he's going to prove that. But for Gareth Bale and the likes of James, Dan James he still needs for a bigger club. Wilson has been scoring quite. His scoring has been a bit inconsistent, but he's getting there. So for me, I think he has the support of the team, but mostly the team, the younger players will be looking up to him. They're expecting him to be the leader he is. Of course, Gareth Bale is a good leader. And for me, I honestly think that Wales will do quite well and come, I think, second. I'm going to place them to come second.
You think the USA do not stand any chance in that group?
I'm sorry, no. For Pulisic, I really don't think. Honestly, I think USA will come, I think, last.
Last?
Yeah. I'm going to put Iran third.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is quite interesting. Keitany says Iran will be third in that particular group, and of course they will go past the United States of America. Of course, talking about the United States of America and the players that they do have, they are very, very young, talented players. Exactly. And we've talked about Pulisic, of course. But even before we go to the likes of Brendan Aronson and, of course, Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic is a player who I do believe he has a lot of potential, but he hasn't fulfilled that potential in him. Do you think time is running out in the first place for him because age is catching up with him? Yeah. Do you think time is running out because at Chelsea he's been a perennial substitute, and when he comes on, there's no impact? Do you think time is up for him?
We've seen him at Chelsea. He's like in the previous years, like the last season, Pulisic was one of the main man for Chelsea. But as time proceeded, he's been coming in as a substitute. But by the time you're coming in as a substitute, that means that there's someone who is doing better than you. And now he's going to be the captain of United States. Yes. So he needs to be the strongest man there where other young players will look up to him. And you've said, USA, most of the players in USA, they are young. They need that experience. That's why I thought that they will come last. It's because, yeah, they're young, they're fast, but now you need that experience. This is a big tournament. It's a world tournament. So you need experienced players to help you and to, when you're under pressure, you need someone who can stand and tell you that it's okay, let's do this and let's do that.
Now, when you talk about the younger players, two players in particular, in terms of the attackers, who stood out for me in the past 2 seasons or so. One is the son of a Liberian president, that is George Weah. His son, Timothy Weah, yeah. He plays for the United States of America and, of course, for Lille in France. He's been outstanding. He's been scoring goals for them. And, of course, the other one, like I said, is Giovanni Reina, who plays for Borussia Dortmund. Yeah. Do you think Weah and Giovanni Reina can take their club form, to the World Cup, because this is a world showpiece?
Exactly. As I said, they're young players and they're coming into a big tournament. So every time you go into a big tournament, you're trying to sell out yourself. You're trying to show the world that I'm here. Yeah, I'm playing for Lille. I'm playing for Borussia. But I want to play for bigger clubs. As much as maybe they think or they know, or they want to believe that they are going to proceed. And if at any point they proceed, they are going to make it their most, so that towards when the World Cup is over, other clubs have, of course, when now we're going for clubs, there are people who are going to, monitor, see players and scout. So they are trying to sell their name. So I think for US, they're lucky to have such good talent, because they're going to fight it for them and for the name for the national team and for their names.
Just before we wrap up the conversation surrounding the United States national team, yeah. And of course the players that they do have, their young roster, they're players in their midfield, because they're three key players, in my opinion. One is Weston McKennie, who plays for Juventus. Yeah. The other one is Tyler Adams, who plays for Leeds. And of course, there's one other player, that is Brendan Aronson, who also plays for Leeds. We've seen the link up between Tyler Adams and Brendan Aronson. Brendan Aronson in the Premier League for Leeds.
Yeah.
And they've been outstanding. Just before we went to the World Cup break, they were playing against Tottenham and they lost 4-3. But how they played, their display was fantastic. Do you think they can take up that link between them to the national team? You know, also having it in mind that Weston McKennie is a young player, very talented young player.
Yeah.
Can they improvise something in their midfield department?
You know, the younger players can be cheeky at times, and you find the cheekiness comes in handy when you need such players, the young kind of players, and they've played together. They understand the way they play with each other. So for me, I think when given an opportunity to work with someone you've worked with before and you've worked with them closely, I think that it gives you an upper hand, you know, you're going to perform quite well because they understand their game plan, you know. You go under attack and you understand that my friend, he cannot attack. So he's going to attack and you hold back maybe for the midfield, for defensive. So I think for me, playing with players who have been on the same team and who have played together, and you've said Leeds have been performing quite well. Although they lost it to Tottenham, I was thinking they were going to win the game, and for me, I think they're going to bring it.
Now, in their goalkeeping department, they do have, or they had Zach Steffen, who's the backup goalkeeper for Manchester City. He's a very young goalkeeper, but eventually, or sadly, he got injured. So I'm thinking the #1 goalkeeper will be Turner, who plays for Arsenal. Matt Turner, of course. He's not had the chance to play at Arsenal, of course. Do you think the absence of Zach Steffen, because we saw Zach Steffen playing for Manchester City, you know, on different occasions last season, and we've seen that in as much as he's a young goalkeeper, he has the potential, you understand?
Yeah.
So, do you think them missing Steffen is a big blow for them? And can Matt Turner, turn up for them in that particular tournament?
Of course it is. You know, Keitany, as going into such a competition, like we've said, you need more experience, you know, and not even more experience, you need experience. So Steffen has been playing for Manchester City, and I think for Turner, I think now it's time for him to show Arsenal that he's quite a good goalkeeper, though I don't think if he can bench Ramsdale. But I think it's because of the good form that Ramsdale has had that is not giving chance to Turner. But now I think it's now time for Turner to show us what he has. We need to know now what you have. Now you don't have Turner, you don't have Ramsdale is not there, so you have to. Ramsdale is there at England, but he's not there now. You can't say that I didn't play for Arsenal. Now it's time for you to prove to United States people and your fans that can they really depend on you. Yeah.
Well, those are the sentiments of Keitany here in studio. And of course, just before we give you a preview of one of the managers' profile, that is Felix Sanchez-Bas, who is the manager of Qatar. Remember, you can engage with us on all our social media platforms at Lookuptv across all the social media platforms, that is Instagram, Twitter, and of course, Facebook. Now, Felix Sanchez-Bas is the manager of Qatar. Of course, he's a Spanish manager. He managed the FC Barcelona youth team. Let's just have a look at his profile, being the manager of the host nation. That is Felix Sanchez-Bas, the Qatar manager. Just to get your opinion, Keitany, do you think Sanchez-Bas, Felix, who is a Spanish-born manager, he coached Barcelona, the youth, like I've said, do you think the pressure is on him to perform having it in mind that Qatar is the host nation?
You know, let me take you to 2018. Russia surprised us. Like, for me, literally, Russia surprised me. I didn't expect them to go that far. And, you know, you have the support of your fans, and now you still have the pressure, you know, like, you're hosting the World Cup. Is there anything you can offer us, but only you can you offer us more, apart from being the host? So I think for me, Qatar have a lot. And with speculation that are around the media of the Qatar stadiums and what, now they need to prove to them that it's, what you're thinking about us is not that. And now we're hosting the World Cup, and we are going to show you that we have players. You know, like how can they fare? You've said that he's been a coach at
FC Barcelona,
FC
yes, of
Barcelona.
course. And interestingly, you know, Qatar did not go through the qualification process because as a host nation, you're given the benefit of hosting the World Cup.
Yeah.
You get a direct ticket. So of the 32 teams, of course, 31 do compete for the places.
Yeah.
But Qatar, being the host nation, they get a direct qualification. But in my own humble opinion, very, very humble opinion, I do believe, and it's good to be honest, in my opinion,
Yeah.
Qatar are not going to win any particular game in the World Cup. Of all that, the 3 games they'll play, I don't think they are, up to the task. Because if you look at the teams they'll be playing against, the likes of Ecuador. Ecuador is a very, very experienced team. They've been in that stage for quite a long time. They do have players who, play in the topmost leagues across Europe. So, in my opinion, and I also want to pick your mind on this, I do think Qatar do not stand any chance. Do you think they stand any chance?
They do not. Actually, for real, they do not. Because for me, you have Ecuador, you have Netherlands, and you have Senegal, I think. So for me, as much as the coach wants to say that we're not only the host, we are also playing football. You have Belgium and you have Senegal trying to fight for the first 2 positions, of which I think they'll at mostly easily earn that the positions. So for me, Ecuador will come 3rd. Qatar, they won't perform.
Sadly, for Qatar fans who are watching us, including on our social media platforms, there you have it. Kim Tai says, you do not stand any chance, and so do I. It is brutal, but it's good to be honest. Do stay with us because we are going on a short commercial break. We'll be back in a moment with more, including one of the big boys in the world of football, that is England. Do stay with us. We're coming back in a moment.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Remember, this is the World Cup show here on Lookuptv. This is the home of sports. Just to remind you, by the way, you can engage with us across all our social media platforms. And just to sample some of your messages on our social media platforms, and of course, Elvis Ofula from Rongai says he supports England, but of course he thinks, he disagrees with Keitany, by the way. He says he thinks USA can finish second in that particular group because they do have a lot of talent. And of course, Miriam from Eldoret, I suppose, says England will win the group, and of course, Wales will also go through. So continue engaging with us across our social media platforms. Just we'll be sampling your views as we continue with this particular debate. Now, Keitany, we're going to one of the favorites, and of course, one of my technical guys here, James, will be very happy because we'll be talking about England, which is his, a team that he'll be supporting in Qatar. Now, England, they're one of the favorites, of course, but surprisingly, they've won it once. That is in 1966. 1966. Just a few years after we gained independence as a country. Yeah. It's been a long time, because considering the fact that they do have very, very high quality players. And this time round, in 2018, they were almost there. They were knocked out in the semi-finals, I suppose. Do you think, just to begin with, English fans should, have their hopes high there or not?
I think they know better than us. I think they do, because I've been watching some podcast about the English squad. A lot of fans are complaining about how the coach picks players. The players that are being left out, the others are in the squad, and they don't think they're supposed to be there, they qualified to be there. But honestly, I think England has a deep squad. They have that ability to surprise us. I'm not expecting them to win World Cup, but I'm really hopeful that they'll come at least runners up.
Runners up? Yeah. Very, very interesting.
For Rashford, man.
Manchester United fans here pitting for Marcus Rashford, their star man, of course. Now, just before we look at some of their key players, you've talked about the team selection by Gareth Southgate. Yes. By the way, I have never supported Gareth Southgate, because to me, he makes very, very, should I say, controversial picks. Because some players, it seems like a manager who picks, some other players are picked based on their form. Yeah. Some other players are picked based on their loyalty to the team. Because when Rashford was not picked at some point for that team, the reason was, that was Rashford and Sancho, the reason was their performance, the performance has been below par. Yeah. Now, this time round, he's picked Rashford because his performance has improved. Yeah. He's been featuring for Manchester United, scoring goals this season. We're almost saying Rashford is back to his level best. Yeah. Okay, if you're picking players based on form, tell me about Harry Maguire. He's not been playing. So how does it make sense that you were picking players before based on their performance, but when it comes to Harry Maguire, you're picking him despite the fact that he's not been playing for Manchester United in the English Premier League?
Just like I said earlier, for like in the case of United States players, these young lads from Leeds, Maguire has been playing with Stones, and we've seen how much of an impact they have. I was watching the highlights of the first game they had in the World Cup 2018. That was against Tunisia, and both assists, Harry Kane scored twice, and both assists came from Maguire and Stones. So for me, I think Harry Kane was picked because of the partnership he has with Stones. They understand each other. So I think, for me, I would question that. I would really question that. But after what I've come to think of it, it's because of the partnership they've had with John Stones.
That is very, very interesting. Someone would say, or rather someone would think, Keitany is, supporting Harry Maguire being picked into the national team because he's a United fan. But interestingly, Keitany, just to have a different opinion because Harry Maguire has not been playing.
Yeah.
We have players who've been playing each and every day. One of them, you know, by the way, as I talk about other players, there's a debate that if you play for a club that is not in the English Premier League, your chances of being picked into the team, the national team, or being selected into the national team's roster are quite low.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that I've also come to understand. Fikayo Tomori won the league with AC Milan last season. He's been outstanding. But seemingly, it's like Southgate, as you know, judged Tomori based on the games he's recently played in the Champions League, because they lost both games home and away to Chelsea. Do you think Tomori deserved to be left out in this particular team?
Nope. I don't think Tomori will. Actually, I was a bit shocked. I would, if I would drop two of the defenders in that game, I would drop Dyer and Harry Kane. And
Harry Maguire for that case.
For
Harry Maguire.
Yeah, I would still drop Maguire.
But just as we conclude that debate and look at the key players for England, Eric Dyer has been outstanding for Tottenham. To me, is their main centre back, and he brings a lot of experience. And just in the defence of Eric Dyer, because if you look at Dyer and Maguire, Dyer plays frequently for Tottenham. We can see as that match fitness. But for Maguire, I'm perplexed to say the least, because even recently when he played against Aston Villa in the EFL Cup, we won that game 4-2, of course. But his performance, I'm sorry to say, but it was below average. So it's up to, of course, Gareth Southgate to see what he will do in terms of picking the first 11 in the games in Qatar. But of course, I'm certain Harry Maguire will start. And I do hope Harry Maguire will cost them a place in the knockout rounds. Now, just to jump into their key players. And of course, as we look at the profiles of some of the players, Harry Kane is one of them. He's a very, very crucial player for England. Because he's a man who's always bashed for having no trophies to his name, despite the high number of goals he's scored. This is one opportunity for him to at least win something. Now, even as we give the viewer Harry Kane's profile, do you think Harry Kane can inspire this team into winning the World Cup in Qatar? Because in 2018, by the way, in Russia, he was a top scorer with 6 goals.
6 goals, yeah.
So will he inspire the team or not?
He will. I mean, with the 6 goals in last World Cup, he's coming in as the contender and the holder of the golden boot. So for me, I think Harry Kane, and now he has 51 goals. I think 2 goals shy of Bobby Charlton and shy of Wayne Rooney and surpassed Bobby Charlton by 2 goals. Bobby Charlton 49, now Harry Kane has 51. Wayne Rooney has 53. So I think it's you've said he hasn't won any major trophy for England, but now I think one of his goals is, if not to win the World Cup, at least let him break the record. So by breaking the record of the goal scoring in England, I think he'll have to pull England up, and for me, he's a major boost for England. He is a major boost.
Now, of course, he's a major boost, but he'll also need the support of other key players. One of them being Manchester City's Phil Foden. And of course, there was a debate around Phil Foden being left out in Manchester City's last matches heading into the World Cup. He only played the last game, which they lost against Brentford. And by the way, he scored a banger. There was a debate saying that maybe Southgate talked to Pep Guardiola, telling Guardiola, please, just leave him out. We don't want Foden injured. That begs the question, how crucial is Phil Foden into this particular squad? Because when you spoke about Wales, and specifically the United States of America, you spoke about their young roster. Phil Foden is one of the very, very young players, but he's had the opportunity to showcase what he can do frequently or consistently for Manchester City. Do you think he'll be the main man in terms of attacking play alongside Harry Kane? Because the rest of them, I'm sure Raheem Sterling will also start. but his form has been bang average for Chelsea this season after moving from Manchester City. So how crucial is Phil Foden to Southgate and the English national team?
We've seen how he's partnered with Haaland at Man City, and they've played quite a good game. Like you see the depth, how deep Foden can go, and how the pace. He's very fast. So for me, I think having someone who you can look up to, you have a Riken right there, and he will always guide you. And for me, Foden, he's this young talented kid, and for me, I think he has the capability of making it one of his best tournaments.
Well, that is interesting. Just Kimuchai before we talk about their goalkeeping department. And of course, Jordan Pickford is one of their main players. I also want to just still sample some of the responses from our fans. And of course, there is a Felix here from Kawangwaro saying, England will win the World Cup. There is no doubt. You can bank your money on them. And of course, as well, there is one guy called Harry. He hasn't indicated where he's watching us from, but he's saying England, of course, do have a good squad, but he says in Kiswahili, wata struggle sana. So he's talking about their exploits in 2018, of course, and they lost to Croatia in the semi-finals. Now, even as you sample what the fans are saying, or what our viewers are saying, Jordan Pickford for England. And we'll give the viewer a profile of Jordan Pickford and his statistics, of course, as a goalkeeper. There's the debate about Pickford and Ramsdale. Before we talk about Pickford, or even we can start with Jordan Pickford. He's been the #1 goalkeeper for England, for consecutive matches. Even before Ramsdale rose to the occasion. Because Ramsdale, while he was at Sheffield, he was one goalkeeper you'd say he has the potential.
Yeah.
And then he stepped up. Sheffield were relegated, of course, and he was bought by Arsenal. And Simba would be proud if I'd say this. It's been exceptional. Of course, Simba is a very, very big Arsenal fan, and he's very, very happy to hear this from me. Ramsdale has been near perfect for Arsenal this season. That is why they are in the top of the Premier League. They are the summit. One other thing that Simba will be proud of. Do you think Pickford will start? Do you think Southgate will stick with Pickford, or will he go with Ramsdale based on the form in the English Premier League?
I think according to how we've seen Gareth pick his squad, I think he's based on history, how they've performed for the national team, how far are you willing to go? So for me, I think he'll start with Pickford, of which I think for me it's a heartbreak. I hate Arsenal. I really hate Arsenal, but Ramsdale has been exemplary. So I think he should start Ramsdale, but I think he's going to start Pickford.
People talk about Jordan Pickford, and he's prone to errors. He's prone to making errors for Everton. We've seen that time and again in the English Premier League. And one thing, in my own opinion, I do think, just for the sake of the consistency in that particular team and understanding, because Pickford has played with most of the players, by the way, more frequently in all their matches, including in 2018. So, do you think, or do you echo my sentiments in terms of saying Pickford should start in all the games? Or, Southgate as well can decide, okay, I'll go with Ramsdale in the group stages because maybe he'll see the games as a bit easier for him, understand? Because I'm quite certain Southgate will play a weaker team against Iran. You can take that to the bank. You can bank your money on it. And I'm thinking Ramsdale will start that particular game. In your opinion, do you think Ramsdale will get an opportunity to play at least a game or not?
First, if you want me to share your sentiment, then it means that you're saying Pickford should start because he's played with other players, right? So
I'm talking in terms of his understanding with the defense specifically. Yeah. Because if you look at Ramsdale, he's not played that much. We already know the team that will start. Yeah. Of course, he'll start with the likes of Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, John Stones. Kyle Walker will not play, so most definitely it will be Alexander Trent-Arnold, who's been, I'd not say below par this season, but it's not the Trent that we know.
Exactly.
In my opinion, I do think Pickford has a better understanding with them.
Yeah.
Because he's played with them in major tournaments, as you know, of course, compared with Ramsdale.
Yeah, you know, just like I said, Maguire was picked because his partnership with Stones. He's played with Stones several games for England. It's the same thing for Pickford. Now that I think you finally agreeing with me why Maguire was picked. That's true. As a goalkeeper, you need to understand your defense line. You need to understand how you're well protected. So I think, and I said, Southgate will really go with Pickford based on history.
Based on history.
Yeah, how he's been performing for England.
I'd say in Pickford's defense that maybe the defense that Everton lets him down, because if you look at the defensive unit at the moment, it's a unit that is obviously in shambles as compared to Ramsdale, because Ramsdale has some bit of a wall in front of him, because Saliba to me has been arguably the best defender so far, so good this season, and he plays, of course, alongside the likes of Ben White, Gabriel Magalhaes, the Brazilian Maguire, and of course, we can say the defense for Arsenal has been one of the key pillars in ensuring Ramsdale top form.
Yeah.
As we conclude the debate around Pickford and the World Cup, even after the World Cup, do you think it's time for Pickford to also leave Everton, go to a bigger club, just to showcase that if he gets a better shield in front of him, he can perform even at the very best level?
For Pickford to leave Everton, then, you know, there's always one thing. You're not guaranteed that you're going to be the first option, and you have to fight for that option. But by the time you've been given an opportunity to fight for a position, then it takes a lot of time, and it might exhaust you, you know. So I think he let him stick with Everton unless Everton is unless if it is relegated, unfortunately.
Of course, they escaped relegation last season, and they were definitely helped by one Richarlison, who is in the Brazilian national team for the World Cup in Qatar. Now, even as we wrap up the show, Kemuchai, do you think, and of course you've said England will win the group, and of course Wales, Iran, and USA. Some of the fans here are disagreeing with you. They think USA can perform even better as compared to Wales and Iran. If you look at all the other teams, just moving away from maybe this particular group, England, they're the big boys. England, France, Brazil, Argentina. And
five, I think.
Yeah, the big five. And of course, the underdogs who might even perform even better. Like, for example, Croatia were underdogs in 2018, but they performed very, very well. They got themselves into the semi-finals. The likes of Denmark, these are dark horses. Where would you rank England in all the big boys in the world of football?
The big boys, including that's France, Belgium, Brazil, Argentina. So those are the, according to FIFA rankings, those are the only national team ahead of them. I would rank them 3. That's after Argentina and Brazil.
South American teams?
Yeah, of course. South America is, I think it's kind of a home of football.
I'd agree with you.
Yeah.
I'd really, really agree with you on that. Your last sentiments, because we're coming to the end of the show. I really want to know, what do you look forward in the tournament in Qatar? Because it starts on Sunday, 7 p.m. local time. What do you expect in Qatar?
I think, honestly, this is the long-awaited, and it's either it breaks my heart completely or it makes me the happiest guy. You know, for Messi, this is the last World Cup. So I really want, I'm really hoping for Argentina to win the World Cup and end the debate of who's the GOAT. So it's going to be amazing World Cup, a lot of tension, and some of us are not ready for the results that are yet to come.
Who are your underdogs? Do you think Denmark, Croatia can pull something or pull a surprise?
Croatia will not pull a surprise. France will probably flop.
France?
France will probably flop.
Very, very interesting. Those are sentiments by Kim Mutai, who's been our guest here in studio today. By the way, we are two South American fans. I do believe, if not Brazil, Argentina will lift the World Cup in Qatar. Just to conclude, I'll give you the fixtures, or the English national team fixtures in the World Cup. Of course, they'll begin their campaign on the 21st of November against Iran, like I've said, at exactly 4 p.m. local time before they proceed to face the United States of America. The debate about whether it's football or soccer. That is on the 25th of November at exactly 10 p.m. local time. And of course, they conclude, or they finish up the group stages by facing Wales on the 29th of November this month at exactly 10 p.m. local time. That is all that we had for you today here on the World Cup show. At Lookuptv, of course, the home of sports. Be sure to join us again tomorrow with our very own, my senior, Robert Chacha, will be here to dissect and give you exactly what's been happening in the world of sports this particular week. See you again, personally, on Monday after the World Cup has started. We'll be giving you unrivaled updates and reviews on all the matches, beginning with the first game on Sunday as we head to the second round of games, the 3 games that will be happening on Monday. So do stay with Lookuptv because, again, like always, Lame Kaungo is coming up with Kutoka Mashinani. Have a great weekend ahead and God bless.